Chronic workplaces ni ile hali kwamba unafanya kazi lakini kidogo wewe mwenyewe hauna uhuru wako wa kufanya kazi, ama kidogo ufurahii, ni kana kwamba ikifika siku ya kwenda kazini unahisi kana kwamba kidogo mambo yako sawa au furahi kwa kazi.
Na ile kazi nimeshaifanya ya challenge sana ni kazi ya umakanga kwa barabara.
Welcome to another episode of State of Mind. My name is Dr. Tuco-Kenya, and today we're having an episode on chronic workplace stress. If you'd like to join us on social media, you can do so on Instagram, Switch TV KE, YouTube, Switch TV, Twitter, Switch TV Kenya, and Facebook, Switch Media Kenya. Before we get to interact with our interesting guests, let's hear what people on the street know about chronic workplace stress.
Chronic workplaces ni ile hali kwamba unafanya kazi lakini kidogo wewe mwenyewe hauna uhuru wako wa kufanya kazi, ama kidogo ufurahii, ni kana kwamba ikifika siku ya kwenda kazini unahisi kana kwamba kidogo mambo yako sawa au furahi kwa kazi.
Ile kazi nimeshaifanya ya challenge sana ni kazi ya umakanga kwa barabara. Na hiyo kazi iko na challenge mingi. Juu wakati umeamuka ni lazima upatane na kama makops kwa barabara. Kuna ile kitu wanataka. Uende hata upatane na kanjo. Watu wasako hiyo unafanyia wanahitaji pesa. Na hiyo gari ndio inaangalia imlipe mshahara na uweke gari mafuta. Lakini by the head of the day mwenye gari hataki kutambua, anataka ile off-road yake kama ni target. Kama ni 7,000 anataka. So unapata challenge yenye unapata na yao kesho yake unaanza pata huko job. But hataki ku understand.
For me, for example, like I am a nail technician and a makeup artist, and you find sometimes like clients can be very rude to you. I don't know for what reason. Maybe they are looking down upon you, and unaweza zoea, but for how long?
Kwanza unapata kana kwamba tunasema mshahara, utapata kana kwamba mshahara iko chini. Alafu jambo la pili utapata pengine ile lazima working conditions. Huenda unapigiwa kelele unapata kana kwamba sawa, huwezi furahia kazi mahali unapigiwa kelele. Utataka mahali penye ukienda kufanya kazi, hata ikifika kwamba siku ya kazi kwamba sasa ni Jumatatu, unaisubiri kwa hamu na gamu.
Welcome back here on set. Now that you've heard what people on the street think about chronic workplace stress, I'm having experts right here on set with me, and let's introduce ourselves. Dr. Oluwatayo Opankule, fondly known as Dr. Tayo, and also Stacey Awiti. So introduce yourselves. Let's start with Dr. Tayo. What do you do, and tell us who you are?
Yes, my name is Dr. Oluwatayo Opakunle, or just Dr. Tayo for short, and I'm a medical officer currently working in the Nairobi Heart Clinic at the Karen Hospital, where I mainly practice offering comprehensive cardiology services.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Tayo. Stacey, tell us about Stawi Health Initiative. What are you doing? Unafanya nini na mavijana?
Thank you,
Yes.
Dr. Ogoro. My name is Stacey Awiti. I'm a psychosocial counselor and also a founder of Stawi Mental Health Initiative. This is an initiative that aims at spearheading mental health, psychosocial safety, advocate for the mental safety of each and every individual, especially youths, so that they make change. I believe that a change comes from the mental. If you change your mind, you change everything.
Okay. Thank you so much for the wonderful introductions. So let's start, Dr. Tayo. What do you think is the most common cause of workplace stress? Is it the bosses, the environment, the workload for you? What clicks to your mind as the most common cause of workplace stress?
So as a doctor, something that's very common for us is a lot of workload.
Yeah.
If there are a lot of very complicated patients that we have to handle, that's something, especially in emergency situations, that's something that brings about a lot of stress as being a doctor.
Yes.
As well as also if there are not many staff
Yes.
at hand, that can also be something that makes things difficult because it's a lot more overwhelming to deal with the large majority of, or the high numbers of patients from time to time. Then another thing that leads to a lot of workplace stress as a doctor is sometimes not having support from some of our seniors.
Yes.
Because there's some cases and patients that are too complex
Yes.
for me to handle. And so there are times when it's important to escalate, but if that support is not there, then things can become a little bit difficult.
Okay, good. Now that you've actually mentioned in line in that, so tell me, now that we're having a lot of young doctors who are unemployed, and others are complaining of chronic workplace stress. So how is the situation with unemployment of doctors at this time, especially these young ones who have recently come from school? How is it right now in the country?
It's a very demoralizing situation, especially because the journey to becoming a doctor is a very challenging one. It's, depending on which institution you go to, 5 to 6 years of very rigorous training and reading and studying and exams.
Yes.
And then after you're done with internship, which is also another incredibly stressful experience,
Yes.
to then have all of this knowledge and all of these skills and the ability to help so many people, but there's no jobs for you to be able to go ahead to help other people, must be incredibly frustrating.
It must be extremely stressing. Good. So Stacey, tell us, how would you tell that someone at a workplace is actually stressed out? What are you looking out for? How do you know they're burnt out? So how would you actually tell that someone that you're working with is actually stressed out?
Thank you. The first thing you can, among the signs is a withdrawal. A person tends to isolate himself from the others. That feeling that loneliness, this is brought in between. The person feels worthless, the person feels unaccepted, the person feels unrewarded.
Yes.
Like my colleague has said, people, there are young doctors outside there who have not been employed.
Yes.
After undergoing all through that, and then you come and you feel you don't get employment. I've worked in a hospital setting where there are some people, doctors who used to be employed on lockers, like short term.
Yes, short-term basis.
Short-term basis. So you find when this person is working there, he's working there, but he's stressed. Like, I don't even if I'll come next week, my contract is ending. Will I get a renewal? So you come and feel those are some of those mental challenges that people come, and when they come there to work, you find that this person is also be demoralized.
Yes.
And it also leads to low performance. Because there's no energy.
Yes.
There's also what we call procrastination, where people tend to say, I'll do this tomorrow. I'll do this another time. Why don't you assign this
Someone else the same
else?
task.
Yeah, it also leads to blame game.
Okay.
Absenteeism and lateness also in a workplace.
At the workplace.
Yeah, it's also a sign of stress.
Yes. And burnout at the workplace.
So
Now from your experience as a counselor, as a social worker, now when you're supporting people at work, what do you think, from the top of your mind, can be done to help those people who are looking burnt out and those people who are looking tired?
The first thing I normally tell people is embrace reality. Be realistic. Set goals that are realistic.
Yes.
I have this number of patients as a doctor that I'm supposed to see. I have 10 and I know I definitely cannot attend to all of them. Let me be real to myself.
Yes.
Let me be honest to myself and set my limit. I'm going to see 10 patients today. I'm going to see, after those 10, I'm going to at least to try and squeeze 6.
Yes.
So you set realistic
Goals for
yourselves. Embrace self-care.
Yes.
Yeah. There's life after work.
Yes.
Because if this one goes and extends, it also affects your relationship with other people. It also affects your domestic, your personal life,
Your family,
your friends,
so your children.
So set limits. If it is work, it is work. Don't take stress, work stress to home, and don't bring your personal stress in the workplace.
Okay. Thank you for that elaborative explanation of how you can find out somebody who's having chronic workplace stress, and then what do you think that person can actually do for themselves to relieve themselves from that condition. So now, Dr. Tayo, tell us, how does chronic work stress impact someone physically and also in their mental health? How would you tell this person physically is having chronic workplace stress?
That's a great question. So if we get a little bit detailed,
Yes.
one way in which the body responds to a stressful experience is by releasing certain hormones.
Yes.
So the two major hormones that are involved with stress include one called cortisol and one called adrenaline.
Yes.
And so in a more short-term scenario where something very stressful happens, that's where the effects of something like adrenaline comes into play, where what will happen is you start to get worried, you start to get anxious, your heart starts racing, you start sweating, your hands get sweaty and clammy,
Yes.
and you start to worry about a lot of things. But that's more so just for a much shorter episode of stress. But now over the long term, together with adrenaline, there's now cortisol, of which cortisol is a hormone which is actually a steroid. And one effect that steroids have is that they can suppress the immune system.
Yes.
So if somebody's coming to work and they're constantly sniffling, they have a cold, they have a cough, they have a sore throat all the time, that's something that could be a sign of chronic workplace stress. Together with constant fatigue,
Yes.
a very poor sleeping schedule, of which all of these things together then also impact the individual's mental health.
Okay.
Because sleep is something so foundational to maintaining good mental health.
I agree.
So when somebody starts either oversleeping or is sleep deprived, then it's much easier to develop a mental health condition as a result of that.
Okay.
And so this would then manifest itself with the more common ones would be symptoms of depression, as well as symptoms of anxiety.
Okay.
So these are the ways in which chronic workplace stress can manifest itself in somebody.
In physical symptoms. So it's good you've actually mentioned that when someone is stressed out, they keep getting multiple infections. So if you're having this employee who's always getting sick offs, who's always not at work, who's always looking sickly, you could actually be stressing that employee at work.
Yes.
Now, Stacey, tell us, now that you're mentioning, employers who are stressing workers at work. Now, not from the perspective of an employer, what can employers do to ensure that people who are working at a good environment?
The first thing is that they should create an enabling environment, create an environment that supports psychosocial safety of the employees.
Yeah.
Secondly, they should reduce instances of toxicity in the workplace.
Yes.
Because that one is also another cause of mental health illness, because at times it causes colleagues rivalry. So they should try to balance work. They should
Yes.
enhance teamwork. They can also even do this by coming up with events, outdoors activities.
Yeah.
They should also implement strategic communication strategies that are there to help the employees speak out
Yes.
their mental health wellness without the fear of being judged or discriminated.
Victimized.
Or victimized, yeah.
Okay, so tell us, you've mentioned toxic workplaces, toxicity at the workplace.
Yes.
Just give us examples. What do you mean by toxicity at a workplace? Is it because you're being given a lot of work, you're being bullied? What do you mean by toxicity at a workplace?
When I mean toxicity at a workplace is where the environment is toxic, the employees are toxic, there's no unity, there's no teamwork. And for instance, this is normally attributed to jealousy.
Yes.
Yeah, when a person can come and out of nowhere you just feel jealous. It can also be stirred up by envy. A person can out of nowhere feeling envy. This is because people are greedy. Some people are greedy. Some people are selfish. They just want to outshine the other people.
Yeah.
And when they want to do that, they do that at the expense of another person's
Yes.
mental well-being.
Yes.
So it's nice to make people aware of their emotions. Also make people aware of other people's emotion.
Yes.
I should not let your jealousy affect
How someone else is doing their
how
work.
someone else is doing my work.
Yes.
So once we should also create that awareness, personality awareness, that is what I call it. That once I come and I notice that this is my boss normally comes in the morning And when I see, we know how to read the moods of people.
Yes.
Like we can go in the workplace and you see your colleague today is like, they will say hi, and it's like
They're not looking like they're talking to you
not
at
talking
all.
to you. So
Yes.
from there, you should, at a quick instance, you should know that today she's not in a good mood.
Yes.
So try to keep off. Try to keep anything that will elevate or make an argument or a misunderstanding between you.
Between the two of you.
Yeah. And then they should create an environment that has no favorism. Like they should create an equal environment where like no one is bigger than the other.
Yes. And
there's no
people-
voice that is more heard than the other. But create a level playground where anyone and everybody can come, can share and express their feelings.
And they're heard by everyone.
And there is-
Okay, thank you so much, Stacey, for that comment. And at this point, we'll take a break. So join us after the break where we discuss more on working from home remotely and what employers and also employees can advocate for in regards to reducing chronic workplace stress. Join us after the break. It's very exciting to see that you're still here with us right after the break. So at this point, let's talk about chronic workplace. So did you know? So Dr. Tayo, tell us, what do you think about remote working, and is that a way of reducing chronic stress among the employees? What do you feel about having the opportunity of not having to come to the office every day and doing your work from home and organizing yourself from home? What does that bring to your mind in regards to stress among employees?
Being able to work from home would be very comfortable because it wouldn't involve going, let's say for example, just going into the workplace is actually something that might be quite stressful. But when you're at home, you get to relax, you're around your things, you get to work in a way that you want to, etc. They aren't some people that you have to deal with or you have to see.
Yeah.
If you get to work at home, it can be very relaxing because you're in your own space.
Yes.
And you can work however you want. If you want to work in the kitchen, if you want to work in the living room, if you want to work on your bed, you can go ahead to do that. And there's nobody around who's watching and judging your every single move.
Okay.
So working from home is something which can considerably reduce stress quite a bit. Although the unfortunate thing is, as a doctor, I don't think that's possible.
Yes.
Yes, unless I had my clinic in my house.
Yes.
But unfortunately, for healthcare workers especially, working usually involves going to a hospital as
Yes.
compared to working from home.
Okay. But
Yeah.
you honestly feel like working from home would make a better option in regards to managing stress at the workplace?
Yes.
You think more places should embrace working from home as a culture?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Now we've had, hopefully employers can hear. Many people want to actually work from home. Okay, good. So tell us, Stacey, now I think we've talked about the part for the employers, how they can reduce toxicity at work and also stressing out the people. Now for the employees, amongst themselves, what can they do? How do they advocate for themselves in regards to having a chronic workplace, a chronically stressful workplace for themselves?
Thank you, Dr. Roboro. The first thing they should do, they should dare to care. By this I mean they should embrace self-care. They should love themselves first. They should know themselves better. They should be true to their inner self. Today
Yes.
I've woken up, I'm feeling ish. Try to know the cause. The problem with us, most people, is that people look for the right questions. The right answers, but they don't have the right questions. I'm feeling this way. Why am I feeling this way?
Yes.
We tend to rush at answering the question that we are not much aware of.
Yes.
So the first thing, know your mental health. Am I fit to go to work? Yes. I've been given this job. Am I able to do it at this time that I've been given? Yes or no? If no, it is good to communicate earlier
Yes.
so that the other party knows you cannot be able to do this. Yeah.
Okay, good. So now, not from the employee's place, you need to ensure that you know yourself. You ask for more, for more breaks. If you want to go on leave, ask. Now, as an employer, because I know at Stawi, you're working with people.
Yeah.
So as an employer, how do you ensure that you are not propagating toxicity and you're not stressing people who are working under you?
The thing I normally do is I am human. So I
Yes.
tend to be empathetic. I know human makes mistakes.
Yes.
And people grow from their mistakes. And are those mistakes that encourage us to be the better person.
Yeah.
Because I normally say no warrior has ever won a battle without fighting. So I tend to accept people with the way they are, their flaws, their challenges, and I'm there to make them better out of their flawlessness. I embrace, me myself, I have embraced failure. Because I've known failure is a staircase to success.
Yes.
No one has ever been successful without failing. And that is what I normally try to advocate, that I normally call it the fail forward strategy. That when you fail, you move forward.
Yes.
You don't fail or remain where you are or take steps backwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so as an employer, the employers should understand their workers. They should understand that they can actually fail at some point, and they should also give them a good environment to work. Give them off days when they have to. When they have off days, also create good communication with them, and also create fairness when dealing with the employees. Thank you for that, Stacey. Now, Dr. Tayo, tell us, what do you think about employers supporting their employees' passions outside of the workplace? So I know you like, for example, let's say you like blogging, let's say you like swimming, maybe you have a side hustle where you have a shop, and you not doing those other things concurrently, they give you chronic, they give you stress. What do you feel about employers supporting their employees' passions outside of the workplace?
So the interesting thing is when somebody is passionate is when they tend to do their very best work.
Yes.
Because it's in situations like that where they don't have to look for motivation, they don't have to look for creativity. It's already there and they're ready and willing to express it.
Yes.
And a lot of those things that you mentioned, a lot of those are passions, but they're also quite, I'd say, restorative, in the sense that if swimming is something that allows somebody to relax, to unwind, to release a lot of their stressful thoughts, then it would make a lot of sense if in some way, shape or form, the employer could facilitate something like that, either not necessarily by having a swimming pool at the workplace, but empowering the employee with a healthy working schedule, such that there is time for them to pursue their passions and their side hustles and the things that they absolutely love, so that if that's what re-energizes them, then they can come back to work ready and willing to go and do the very best that they can in the workplace, and then they know that they get to go back and continue doing the things that they love, essentially. So yeah, that is a way in which employers can support and empower their employees with the things that they're passionate about. And if there's actually one more thing that I would mention, I read this in a book that I believe it's in one of these big tech companies. What the employer does is that at least, I think they said every Friday afternoon, they encourage their employees to work on whatever they're passionate about. And from those passion projects that the employees have come some of the more common technologies that we actually use today. And so that's one way in which being able to do what you're passionate about can also reap rewards for employers.
Good. So employers need to be very mindful of what their employees like to do, and by feeding into that, the employers become more productive in their primary job. So Dr. Tayo, give us your parting shot. What would you like to tell the viewers, and if they want to reach you, do you have social media handles? So what is your parting shot in regards to chronic workplace stress as we finish?
Okay. So the main thing for me as a doctor is if you're experiencing any of the physical symptoms, more so the things like constantly getting sick, a very poor sleeping schedule, and then also with regards to some of the mental health symptoms, so constantly feeling worried all the time, anxious, having a fast heart rate, or having a low mood, low motivation, you don't enjoy the things that you used to enjoy, the main thing I want to say is please seek help for it.
Okay.
Simply because health is equivalent to wealth,
Yes.
essentially. You can't support your life, your family, the people who you love, if you're not in a state of mind or in a place of health where you can actually productively work. So that's really what I would love the viewers to take home from this wonderful discussion. And then where I can be reached, I'm on Instagram, mainly just Instagram at double.o.
Okay.
And then I also have a blog on WordPress known as A Journey Full of Opinions,
Okay.
where what I do is I write either interesting blog posts about lessons that can be learned from medicine, and I do enjoy writing poetry, so I post that on there as well.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Dr. Tayo, and the viewers will be finding you there. So as we finish, Stacey, tell us your parting shot and also where people can find you on social media.
Thank you. I'm there to encourage people to speak up about mental health.
Yes,
Their mental well-being is there, right?
I agree.
Being mentally well means being a changed person and being productive.
Thank you.
The good state of mind is not the absence of war, it is the presence of war. So we should be there, we should know how to deal with stress, because stress is there. It is something in our everyday life. We cannot run away from it. The only way we can do is to embrace it and know how to deal with it.
Thank you so much. So where can people find you on social media?
On Facebook, I go under by the name Stacey Awiti. On Instagram, Stacey Wits. At LinkedIn, Stacey Awiti. Twitter, Stacey_Wits.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Tayo and Stacey Awiti, for joining us on this episode today. And thank you so much for the viewers at home for being with us and keeping at it till this juncture. So don't forget to engage us on social media, on Instagram, Switch TV KE, on YouTube, Switch TV Kenya, on Twitter, Switch TV Kenya, on Facebook, Switch Media Kenya. Till next time.